this movie, let's review working with images and shapes. I want to give you some tips about bringing in your own artwork, creating your own artwork, things you can do to it once it's in Storyline 2, and then also working with the different kinds of shapes that we have available. So first, I'm just going to go in my file here to a page where I have a lot more room I can work with, and I'm going to click on my graphic. So in this particular case, the shadow is a separate piece, but the rest of the coffee cup and the text are all a graphic that I brought in from Illustrator. So the first thing I want to do is right click on it and go to size and position. So if you know exactly where you want to position something on a slide, or maybe I'm doing a bunch of coffee cups in different positions down the slide, but they're all going to be in the same amount from the left, and I need to know what that number is. Right click and go to size and position, and here's where you can get that information. So to find out how far in from the left, I would go to position for that one. And here's horizontal, which I refer to as X, and vertical, which is I also refer to as Y. So in this particular case, I know that it's in 16 pixels from the left edge of the slide. So if I was trying to position other things to line up with it, I could use the align feature, but I could also go in here and find out exactly how far everything comes in from the left edge. So that's size and position. And then if you go under, I should say that's position. If you go under size, here's where you can find out what percentage you're scaled to. And you can go in here and do things such as cropping it this way with numbers, or you can go in and change the size of it and rotate it here if you want to. Just a word about size and position when you are bringing in large images such as screenshots. I've had a lot of issues in Storyline 2 with image quality not being all that great on very large images. So here's the rule of thumb. All of your images have to be 2048 by 2048 or smaller. So when I'm working with large screenshots now, I automatically pull them into Photoshop and reduce the size of them and try to save them as a high-res PNG file. And I find that I'm having a much better result by doing that. Okay, so enough on that. I'm going to close out of that. The next thing I want to do is right click on it and go into Format Picture. Now there are some things that you can do in here, such as putting drop shadows on and putting a line around the box and that sort of thing, but I want to address your attention to the picture section and to recolor, because there's some cool stuff you can do here. So take a look at my coffee cup. Remember, it's all one piece, but it's a transparent PNG file. When I click the preset button, I can go in here and try different variations to get a different look for my coffee cup. Why might this be important? If you're doing rollovers and you don't have separate images saved where the cup is a different color, this recolor feature is really awesome for allowing you to try some different, limited, yes, but some different options. Now down here, these are going to show the whole box. That's actually kind of a cool look. I like that, but that wasn't exactly what I had intended there. So I can go back in here again and take a look and try something different. So, maybe there, I got a white coffee cup. There's no color at all, and I can try some of these different variations. So again, that's called recolor, and that I got to by right clicking on a piece of art and going to Format Picture, and under the picture section you'll see the recolor. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is another place where you can find some image quality settings, and that's when you do your publish. So I'm going to click Publish. And down here where it says quality, normally it would say standard optimization until you have made adjustments. I go in here and make adjustments. Now I don't work a lot with audio right now, so I tend to leave this one alone. The other two were set to medium, and I changed them to all the way to the right so that I get video and image quality at the highest level possible. And I've noticed it does not, at least in my case, has not dramatically increased the size of my file, and I've been uploading to LMS and I have not seen any issues yet. So that's my second or my other place to look for just some quality settings, and that's when you click the publish button. So again, if you go up here to publish, down here where it says quality, that's where you can change that. Okay, another thing about working with graphics, I want to make sure you're aware of the nudging feature. If you're familiar with object-oriented programs like Illustrator or InDesign or PageMaker or Quark Express or something like that, you might know what this is. But if you select an item, you can use your up, down, left, or right arrow keys to nudge it. That's going at quite a distance. So if you hold down your Control key, you can go at a smaller increment. So I'm holding down my Control key and now I can get a smaller increment. So that's called nudging, a great tip for trying to position things without picking them up and having to move them. So that's a little bit about working with graphics. Let's talk a little bit about shapes. And for that, I'm going to click on the Insert button. And over here where it says shapes, you'll see that you have arrows, you have some freeform lines, some regular lines, you have a bunch of rectangles, some basic shapes, arrows, all sorts of things down here. If you just, I'm just going to start with the basic shape. If I click and drag to create that shape, it's automatically applying the default settings. So I clicked on the home button and up here I'm going to go to shape fill. I may not see the color I want here, so if I go to more fill colors, this is where I can save my custom colors, and you see that I have a lot here saved already. But for example, I can go in here and just randomly start playing and picking a color, and maybe I really like that color. So I can click add to custom colors, and now it's always available for me from here on out when I open any new files. So this many colors can be saved as a custom color. Once you reach where all of these are filled, the next one you do will start eliminating some of your previous ones. So you can only have that number, but still it's nice to be able to save them. So I'm going to click OK, and there's my custom color. I'm going to turn off my outline, but I could go in here and work with the weight. I can do other things under here. For example, I can put arrow settings on if it was a line as opposed to a solid shape. I can go in here and change dash types, cap types for, again, for end points. If you're using, just a rule, do you want it to have a rounded end or something like that? And then I also have the what I call the annoying drop shadows. I'm not a big fan of the whole drop shadow thing. Here are some quick styles in case you wanted to just quickly apply a style, a preset standard styles. I'm going to click on shape effect over here, and this is where if I go under shadow and I can turn off the shadow, and here I've already turned it off, but I'm not a big fan of the drop shadows. I really prefer the flat design look a little bit more, but if you like a drop shadow you can certainly do it. And that being said, I have worked on projects before where there's a busy background, and so I'm making my caption boxes, and I might put a drop shadow on them to make them pop a little bit more against the background. So speaking of caption boxes, that was a perfect segue, Sally. Let's talk a little bit back under the Insert tab and under Shape. Let's talk a little bit about callouts because I do like these. I have found that using rounded rectangle callouts in PowerPoint is problematic because when you resize them, the rounded rectangle does not hold true, and that is not the case in Storyline. They seem to work quite well, actually. You do have caption boxes here, but you can also go over to the callout box. I use these as well. So for example, I might want to use this one, the rounded rectangle one. So I can resize this as I need, and my edges always look crisp. I can click this little yellow button and I can resize my little callout feature. Same on this one over here. Just select it and make it longer or shorter as needed. These are great for, I use them a lot if I need to put a lot of information on my slides and I don't want people to just be sitting and reading a slide. I want them interacting. So you might put little snippets of information under little buttons that people have to hover over or click on, that sort of thing. Okay, and we talked about saving custom colors as well. So just to recap, we talked here about size and position, format picture where you can find that really cool Recolor Art feature. We talked about the quality settings under the publish feature. We talked about nudging and using your arrow keys, and then you can also use your control key to get a finer nudge. We talked about adding shapes and how to format them. We talked about saving custom colors, and we talked about callouts. Whew, those are all the things that we covered in this movie on Articulate Storyline 2.